a interesting side effect I've been dealing with basically from like a month in of dieting, and especially more now when I'm a little bit more tired, is the lack of interest in women. Like I just generally, I'm not interested in women. With that said, I'm also not really interested in men. I've never been interested in men, just to kind of make that completely clear. So yeah, basically at this point, I'm kind of like a calorie sexual, because the only thing that I would be thinking about is food, and I don't really even have interest in communicating with women, which is actually quite new for me because normally I'm quite enthusiastic about those sorts of things. But yeah, nowadays it's just like, yeah, no. I'm actually not even beating my shit anymore nowadays. I mean, I do still sometimes do it, but I basically just do it for the vibes because, yeah, I'm not super enthusiastic about that neither. So yeah, like a very clear side effect of like you being on a very intense caloric deficit is the fact that sexually you're just not going to be that active, because like I'm not interested in anything, to be completely honest. Now when I'm like really tired and really hungry, the only thing that I'm constantly thinking about is consuming food. So yeah, if you guys feel like your sex drive is a little bit higher than it should be, try starving yourself. That is going to be a really good solution for you to get rid of this. And also people feel like it's a bad thing that your libido goes down, but in reality for me it's actually not a bad thing at all, because like I was like way too sexual when I was eating like proper amounts of food. So nowadays I'm actually happy, I'm like very chill, I'm not chasing women, I'm not trying to constantly talk to them, it's like absolutely fine. Well, this is a difficult period of time, and I feel like it's probably going to be a little bit of a difficult period because, yeah, I still don't really feel all that good. Also, the weight is not going down, even though I feel like it is probably going to go down during the next 2 days, because it's very unlikely I would keep this kind of like amount of weight after like one single cheat day. So I still think I'm probably just holding on to a little bit more water than I normally do for slightly longer than I normally do. So I think the weight is still going to change during the next 2 days. But yeah, other than that, I feel like absolute dog shit. Like I have zero energy. I'm probably not going to be jogging this week. I already jogged twice. So my goal was to jog once a week, so I did that. So I'm probably just going to be kind of surviving and going to the gym and doing the stuff that I should do without like doing all the extra stuff, because I feel like it's going to kill me if I'm going to keep on doing that. But it's also like I feel like this is what it is really about. Like, if you decided that you're finally going to do something, and if you decided that you're finally not going to half-ass something and you're actually going to give it your all, like, why the fuck would you lie to yourself? I feel like the most demotivating thing you can ever do is lying to yourself. Because, like, you can lie to whoever the fuck do you want to lie to. You can lie to your mom, you can lie to your boss, you can lie to your friends. But why in the fuck would you lie to yourself? It's just like pointless, and it's just like you betraying yourself in a way, which for me is like the worst thing that you could possibly do, because like you don't need other people to respect you. It's nice if they respect you, but you don't really need it. But if you stop respecting yourself, which is eventually going to happen if you're going to keep on lying to yourself, even if subconsciously, then like what is it that's left? Like what is it that, like, you can do? Like, you don't really trust yourself, you don't really have faith in yourself, then like what is it that you can do going forward? Like, you're not going to be doing anything. You're constantly going to be lying to yourself. You're constantly going to be like setting goals that you're not going to follow up on. So yeah, no, we are not going to half-ass this. I told myself that we are going to go through this, and that is exactly what we are going to do, even if we are going into like a little bit of a hard period of time, which is quite obvious that we're kind of going into like a rough patch, but it also goes up and down. I remember especially during the beginning of the diet, when I was not really used to eating little amounts of food, I would have these like mood swings. And now for a period of time, I didn't really have these mood swings. I feel like I was relatively stable. But now I guess we're going back into a little bit of a period of mood swings. But once again, it never really lasts. Like, there are always going to be ups, and there are always going to be downs. And it's just you have to enjoy the ups and kind of like suffer through the downs. And that is the only way that you can move forward. But yeah, today is going to be another relatively difficult day. I still need to finish my day at the office. Then afterwards, we are still going to be going into the gym. And then tomorrow's Friday, which is really nice. I really hope that we are finally going to see the drop in weight, because the only way I can eat more food Saturday is if I'm actually going to be reaching my goals. If I'm not going to be reaching my goals, I am not eating shit. I am going to keep on controlling myself then, and I'm going to keep on waiting until the weight is the way that I want it to be, and only then we'll be eating. But yeah, okay, well, I guess it is back to the office with my stupid ass, so I'll talk to you guys once I'll be done with that. Do you little perverts want to see my physique? Of course you want to see how my physique's coming along, you little perverted shit. It's actually quite good. So you can still see some fat on the lower abs, which is not amazing, but I also still have like 11 to 12 pounds to lose. So like I feel like this conditioning for how much weight I still need to lose is actually quite good. And like you can already see like the ab striations, like the biceps is coming along nicely as well. So like, and it's actually decent. I'm actually quite happy with the way that I look this year, because like last year I basically went down to the same exact weight and I didn't even look nearly as good as I look now. So that's quite cool. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, I think it looks quite decent. I feel like when I'm going to lose the like rest of the weight that I need to lose, this is going to be quite impressive. And I mean, obviously you can't really predict how is it that it's actually going to look when it's going to be done, when I'm going to lose all the weight that I need to lose. But you can kind of have an idea of how it's going to look, because everything is just going to be more veiny and more grainy. And then like you're actually going to be able to see the abs, because like right now the abs are kind of like very fictional basically, because like you can kind of tell where they should be, and like if I really flex you can kind of see them, but obviously they should be like visible constantly, not only when I flex but like just like visible by default. So there's still something that is about to come in, but so far so good. I'm actually quite happy. Every single fucking time, I need to train biceps, I come to the gym. I make my way downstairs and I find my favorite machine that I always want to start with. And every single fucking time there's this guy sitting there for a fucking hour doing jack shit. It's like, motherfucker, stop playing with your fucking Johnson, work out and leave, or just leave and just like fucking let me work out. Every single fucking time he's there, and every single fucking time I ask him, oh, how many sets do you have left? And he's like, yeah, like 4 or 5. And then he's just like fucking sitting there and doing nothing. You are training biceps. It's a fucking stationary machine. You don't need to sit there for fucking 15 minutes in between sets and then do like 3 fucking repetitions and sit for 15 minutes again. You don't need this. It's not going to be helpful. Like if you want to train in a specific way, okay, fine, but at least make it make sense to some kind of an extent. Like, god damn. So yeah, was a fun workout. I enjoyed it. Every single time though. Every single time this thing happens. And it's also like, when you go to the gym as much as I do, you kind of notice the same people doing the same things every single time, because also they have their own routines, and they would basically kind of follow their routines, and it kind of ends up like, kind of like bumping against my routine. And like, this guy's probably also just trying to mind his own business and like playing with his Johnson, like fucking while sitting on his fucking biceps machine. And every single day probably he's also annoyed because I walk up to him and I always ask him, how many sets do you have left? So it's like this thing that you start noticing over time, because like you follow the same routine, he follows his own routine, and you always end up meeting at this like one specific day in this one specific moment. So it becomes weird. It becomes like this odd little ritual that we have, and every single time we both leave out of this ritual like annoyed and unhappy with each other. So yeah, it's a good time. Otherwise, the workout was actually really nice, and I today finally after 4 months got to wear the fucking wife beater that I wanted to wear. So I've lost enough weight to actually be able to fit normally inside this t-shirt now, and I can wear it, and it looked amazing, like looked wonderful, especially now when I'm like much leaner, and when I had a nice arm pump, like it was magic. It was spectacular, I would even say. So the workout was actually nice. So the beginning of the day was a little bit miserable, as it always is, but then afterwards, actually, like the workout went really well. Now I came back home, I ate a little bit, so I'm actually not that unhappy now. I'm actually quite satisfied and quite chill. And tomorrow's Friday, so I just have like one more day left of being annoyed in the office, and then afterwards I'll actually have 3 days off because I also took Monday off because I need to go and do this procedure again. Basically, they need to kind of correct this Botox injection that I have. So like sometimes when they don't really do it properly at the beginning, when like one part of your forehead moves a little bit more than the other, then they adjust it and then they do a couple of additional injections, which is something that I need to do. So I'm actually going to have like 3 days off in a row, which is going to be amazing. So now the only last thing that I need for me to actually be very happy and very satisfied with like how is this week ending is I need to fucking drop the weight that I need to drop, which is hopefully going to happen tomorrow, or maybe when I'll wake up on Saturday. I should kind of be already done with like losing the weight after the cheat day. And then I can also eat while I'm watching UFC, because also Saturday is going to be a big ass UFC event in Newark. It's going to be Sean Strickland versus Hamza Chimaev, and I cannot wait. Because first of all, I'm just generally a big fan of the UFC. Like I generally like basically watch every single event, even the boring ones. But this one is going to actually be a really good event, and like they do not like each other at all. Like they fucking hate each other, and it's going to be a very interesting fight. And I mean, realistically, if you know anything about the UFC, Sean Strickland is probably going to get fucked. But that's actually also something that I want to see, because he's been talking mad shit, and he's kind of like a master manipulator, and he's always like twisting the facts around when it comes to like other people. So like I'm quite interested in seeing him getting mauled by Hamza. But yeah, and other than that, that is the plan for my weekend, and that is what I was up to today. So the day is pretty much over. I still need to go downstairs and stretch out. Then I still need to drink my protein smoothie. I'll watch a little bit of TV, and I'll already be heading to bed. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, as I always do. So see you guys tomorrow.